It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
SKOR North Twins Show, a little extra innings episode here on a Sunday evening. What's going on, everyone? Declan Goff here. Hit the like button, subscribe button on the Twins YouTube channel. Also, you can give us a 5-star rating on the Apple and Spotify front. Another injury update here on the SKOR North Twins Show. We're getting closer to opening day. It's coming up. It's just a few days away. And as spring training and camp breaks here, the Twins' injuries continue to pile up. They're already without Royce Lewis. We heard about that, obviously, last week with the hamstring injury. But that was going to open things up potentially for other Twins infielders. Well, now, as of also on Sunday, it was reported that Brooks Lee and Brock Stewart are also going on the injured list. So a couple mainstays. We kind of knew Brock Stewart with the hamstring, and then also it's more of him still building up the natural strength from his shoulder surgery that he had in August. So they're basically just building him up a little bit more. I actually wouldn't be too panicked about that, but obviously a huge blow to the Twins bullpen, which is projected to be one of the best in baseball. Now they don't have Brock Stewart for at least the first week or so of the season. Brooks Lee, who was scratched with back tightness earlier in the week, he is now going on the injured list with a back issue, which is going to be problematic. Brooks basically admitted earlier this offseason that back issues are just going to be something he has to deal with. He had a herniated disc, I believe it was, last season that forced him to miss 2 months, and the Twins did not elect to do the full surgery for that. They didn't want to give. I mean, back surgery is you're out a minimum of 12 to 16 months, and even though he's a young pup and having back surgery is not ideal, I guess back discomfort is going to be something Brooks Lee also has to deal with. But now you lose Brooks Lee from making your opening day roster. I think he was in line to likely make it regardless pre-Royce Lewis injury. But now what does this mean for the rest of the Twins infield? I think Austin Martin might have his stock of making the opening day roster might have opened things up. I know Martin is primarily an outfielder. Losing Brooks Lee does make things a little bit more complicated on your infield, but I do think it probably comes down to Austin Martin or Deshaun Kersey being the last guys that make the Twins opening day roster, with them probably leaning more on Martin because he's a right-handed hitter. Twins have a surplus of lefties, so I think this probably opens things up potentially for a guy like Austin Martin, who probably had a long shot to make the roster pre-injuries and pre the Harrison Bader signing. I think this is probably good news if you're Austin Martin. Well, we'll see what happens, too. I also wouldn't be shocked if waiver wire claims here, the Twins put in a claim for someone to round things out, whether it's an extra body on the bench, whether it's maybe another arm in the bullpen, because losing Stewart, now there's one spot up for grabs. Everson Castellano will not be making the roster, the Twins' Rule 5 pick that they've got from the Phillies earlier this year. He was informed he's not making it. I believe it was reported Scott Blewett was informed he's not making it. What's a little surprising, I kind of figured they would just give it to Scott Blewett, and instead they're still kind of trying to figure out how they want that last piece in the bullpen to go. So a waiver claim could be in play for the Twins if they wanted to pack it in. Star Tribune did a great piece on the Twins bullpen on Sunday that you can go check out with Bobby Nightingale and Phil Miller doing the coverage down there. It's obviously supposed to be a big strength for them. The Twins were going to have one of the best bullpens in baseball a year ago, and then turned out to just be kind of okay. And so they need that bullpen to be lights out, with Duran and Jackson, Cole Sands leading the way, Brock Stewart being the other one too. Like, they can't afford that bullpen not to be in tow. So more injuries for the Twins, which is never a good thing. Also on Sunday, Mickey Gasper, who has been the Twins' kind of darling right now in spring training, just hitting the cover off the ball. The Twins signed him, I believe, on Christmas Eve from the Red Sox, and now Mickey Gasper ends up leaving with a ankle laceration so bad that it needed stitches, and he was seen leaving the ballpark in Fort Myers on crutches. So I think also Mickey Gasper was in line to make this opening day roster, like again with the spider webs from the Royce Lewis injury. Well, now, I mean, he had stitches. We'll see if like that wound is healed up and if he's comfortable. But now Mickey Gasper might have to be on the injured list, who has kind of been a very fun spring training story for the Twins. So with opening day still 4 days away in St. Louis, maybe he gets into a spot where he's comfortable playing through an ankle situation like that. But again, just more injuries, man. I mean, it's it's pretty tough that the Twins started this spring training suspiciously healthy. I know they lost Royce Lewis, but Carlos Correa's been fine. Byron Buxton's been fine. And we were kind of just waiting on pins and needles of, all right, as long as those core three guys don't get hurt, well, now they've lost Royce Lewis. Now have Brooks Lee on the IL. Brock Stewart's going to start the season on the IL. Yeah, just not ideal situations for the Twins as they're getting ready to break camp here and start their season in St. Louis. I saw yesterday, too, or there was a report maybe Sunday morning, I guess, that Sonny Gray, former Twins starting pitcher and your opening day starter in St. Louis, his velocity is kind of down significantly. So I think there's fears, too, on the St. Louis side of how healthy is Sonny Gray for the 2025 season, or is he, not as sharp or as strong as he used to be? But the Twins now are still kind of rounding out their opening day roster, trying to forget about who they know they're playing Sonny Gray, but now who gets those final few bench spots and that final bullpen spot is kind of completely up in the air. I think who else was in the bullpen camp? Was it Anthony Masuich? He's still in camp, veteran guy who's bounced around a bunch of teams. He's a lefty too. He could get the final spot. They only have Danny Coulomb as their lone left-hander in the bullpen, so maybe that's the case. They've optioned guys like Funderburk already, and I guess they could bring him back up. But I think the waiver wire is probably going to be one to watch here as spring training games kind of end and the Twins get ready to head to St. Louis for opening day. So, yeah, just another kind of ball buster of a news dump today with the Twins losing Stewart and Brooks Lee. So hopefully the Twins are in a good shape throughout the rest of April. I am very curious just in general with Brooks Lee out because he was kind of their backup shortstop and expected to play multiple positions. I think this means Willie Castro will probably see some short if Carlos Correa needs an off day or heaven forbid gets hurt, because Brooks Lee was probably going to be their primary backup to Carlos Correa at short while still mixing in at third and second too. Mickey Gasper can play some second, but and first and is a third catcher too, which has made his versatility so good. But now, yeah, they are going to figure out the Twins are what they want to do with those final roster spots. So, yeah, pretty tough news. Brock Stewart, Brooks Lee going on the injured list. And yeah, just I guess follow me at Dex's tweets too for any updates, whether the Twins do grab someone or make another acquirement of some player, because they're going to have to do something to obviously fill out the random roster or the final roster spots. But SKOR North Twins Show's ready to rock. On Tuesday, I believe Trevor Plouffe will be making his return, so we're super excited about that. So the SKOR North Twins Show will be a little stronger with our guy Trevor Plouffe back on Trevor Tuesdays with Mackie Judd and myself. Plus, I'll have content from Busch Stadium on Thursday for the opening day. I'm heading down to St. Louis on Wednesday night. Super excited to be there. I'd never been to Busch, so very excited to check out the city, check out the ballpark, and then the Twins on the road for in Chicago against the White Sox. After that, they come home briefly for opening day against the Houston Astros, but then they hit the road again. Like 13 of their first 16 games are on the road. By the way, on opening day at Kieran's for the home opener, not for opening day in St. Louis, but the home opener, we will be having a live broadcast at Kieran's. So if you're in the Twin Cities or you are coming to town for Twins opening day, we'll be at Kieran's. I believe it's from 1 to 2 o'clock is when we're going to be up there. I'll be hustling back probably from the ballpark from Access and trying to have some good stuff to share with you guys from there. So if you're looking for a place to be on opening day, Kieran's, it's a great spot, great Irish pub. Go check it out. We'll have more details on that too, I think, up on the SKOR North website here soon enough. But put in your calendars, at least for now, that we'll be at Kieran's on opening day. Yeah, super excited to be back. I mean, baseball season's finally here. I know the Twins injury roster news is not what fans want to hear right now, especially as they break camp, but super excited to be back in this role again for this season. Still be expecting plenty of Twin Show content throughout the year, even though those limited home games in April, which I'm actually not too upset about, just considering the weather in April in Minnesota is typically still pretty chilly. I'll have plenty of content from the ballpark and from beyond on extra innings too. So if this is something you've wanted more of, if this is something that you kind of discovered for the first time, My name's Declan Goff. This is the SKOR North Twins Show. Yes, we have Trevor Plouffe on Tuesdays. I provide you guys access from the ballpark and try to provide as much intel as I can for the Minnesota Twins. So appreciate everyone who has listened, watched, subscribed. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button here on the Twins YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys. Be talking at you soon. Love ya.